Hello, hello, and welcome to Lead, Laugh, Love. We are here with another episode, building this while we fly. Thank you so much for everybody that's been with us since the start. Just to set a little bit of context for this adventure, earlier at the beginning of this year, I was attempting to set up an in-person event. Didn't go too well right after COVID hit. Had to cancel the venue, cancel the speakers, and switch to a virtual event. Since then, we've been building virtual events since then, and it's been so great to have you guys along for the journey. So what we've got for you today is an improv talk show of unscripted wisdom and improvised comedy. So I hope that you're able to join us week after week and grow with this community and these talented people that we have on board. So thank you so much for joining us. Drop a comment to let us know that you're here. We can't see if you're here unless you're saying something, doing something. So we want to make this as interactive as possible. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring on our guests. Every time we've jumped into this show, I've been so excited. I've just hopped right in and barely even got the chance to give you guys a proper introduction. So would love to give you a little bit of context of who we've got on board here in the mix, our on-air talent per se. And first, we've got Dr. Brian Harman over on the West Coast. And this guy is an absolute legend on LinkedIn. He's killing it right now. So I'm going to go ahead and bring him in briefly. Mr. Dr. Brian Harman, welcome. So we also have on the other side of the coast, Jonathan Palmar. This guy is also another LinkedIn legend. Welcome to the show, John. We appreciate you. Also here, we've got Alex B Sheridan. The lineup is loaded. Another LinkedIn content creator and legend. Welcome, my man. And last but not least, way on the other coast, we've got coast to coast to UK coast, Mr. Ravi Rajani. Thank you so much. Looks like Jonathan froze somehow, but appreciate you guys.
Can you at least hear me?
We can.
Okay.
Loud and clear,
we can hear you, brother. So without further ado, I'm going to get out of here. These guys are going to go ahead and lead a show on how to build healthy relationships as a busy professional. That's the topic we're jumping into today. And John, if you're alive back there, you're going to be the host of this show right after this quick little intro. Thank you guys so much. Enjoy the show.
What you gonna do? John, your like thing was stuck here. It looked like two butt cheeks. I don't know why. Did anyone else think that?
It did.
I didn't want to say it, but we're live. I thought I'd say it.
I'm still moving slow?
Yeah. You're delayed,
right,
mate.
I'm trying to close as many tabs as I can. Maybe that'll help.
That was funny. Man, Trav, 3 minutes this time, dude. You hit us with a 3-minute countdown. That's really getting the people ready, right? Really exciting them. Who's in the comments? Paige is like, sure did. Who else is there? Eric, what's up, brother? Hey from Chicago, he says.
Chicago.
Are we live right now? We're supposed to be talking? Yes.
Oh, yeah, dude, we're live.
I was just filling in.
Rob's trying to keep it going. He's like, okay, the comments. Anyway,
I thought we were still doing the intro. Okay.
Dude, we're in.
All right.
Bro, we're live.
Okay. Well, welcome to episode 4, A New Hope. If you've been checking out the last 3, I know it's kind of like the prequel series. Sorry that I had to put you through that. But finally, we're getting the best edition right now. So the first question that I want to ask all of you, because I know that you guys are all deep in this, let's talk about hustle culture. Now, Gary Vee has kind of made this thing a little bit famous where everybody feels like it's got to be go, go, go all the time. But another side of that is the inevitable burnout, which I don't think gets talked about a lot. So what does hustle culture mean to each of you? I'll just work my way down the list. Dr. Brian, you're like, I hear about you all over LinkedIn, kind of like Alex and not so much with Ravi, but I hear I hear about you everywhere on LinkedIn.
So scripted.
That, you know, you're doing all of these programs, you're doing all of these courses, you're just trying to learn all this stuff. What inspired you? Have you been doing this for many years now, or what has inspired you to take like this hustle culture to the next level in your own life?
Yeah. Hey, thanks, John. First of all, as my very first LinkedIn coach, I owe you a lot of gratitude, because since meeting you, my life has totally changed. I got these fancy new lights trying to compete with Travis now. But on a serious note, dude, the hustle part, I joke about it. Jess and I have done videos joking about that, but it does come at a cost. I'm not going to lie. I've taken, I think, 3 days off since January 1st. 2 of those 3 days were because I was moving. I had to move my corporate office into my home office. I had to get furniture with my wife. I do have my Invisalign in. So that's
good, bro.
Another life-changing thing in my world.
I was wondering why you were spitting at the camera, man, and lisping.
Yeah, I should have taken them out.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jonathan, I'm all over the place on LinkedIn and other platforms. I just got a marketing manager that's helping me to expand my reach on different platforms. I'm trying to build. I'm in a building mode right now. So it's hard. It's coming at a serious cost. I probably should just tell you flat out, like, dude, I'm totally I'm burnt in the amount of time it's taking, but I'm also really happy and fortunate to say that it's working. I'm making great friends like the group here on the call. And so I wouldn't change it for anything.
That's the biggest struggle, right? Because you feel so invested in what you're doing, right? Because it's like, it's a part of your identity. This isn't like a 9-to-5 job. This is actually like what you would want to be doing with your time anyways. And when you have like this emotional attachment to it, it's part of your identity. Then it's like, we do tend to put like more of our time, more of our hours, but also more pressure on ourselves to perform at a very high level. So I wanted to ask Alex, like, what are some actionable tips that you could give to people that, you know, wanted to start creating content? Like, just even your brainstorming process, like how do you organize everything into a manageable way so that you can continue? Because what, you're putting out 3 posts a week. I noticed that you always avoid posting videos on the same days as me, because I guess I'd blow up your, like, mine would just be sitting at the top of the castle, the LinkedIn castle, that it's like,
ironically, I guess you don't pay attention because we both post on Monday, bro.
I'm kidding. But anyways, yeah. So just walk me through that brainstorming process, because like I feel like it's a huge demand doing 2 videos a week, and you do 3. So it's like, dude, that's intense. How do you do it?
Yeah, I do post in our Unleash the Creative private group on LinkedIn. I post in there at least 2 to 3 times a week. So actually it's more than that. But wow. But how do I do it? I mean, the key is to stay really, really organized and to stay ahead of it. I mean, I'm like not the person to talk about work-life balance and hustle culture because I'm terrible with it. I've had 1 day off in 6 months, like 1 full day off. And I hate to say that because I don't want it to be like, oh, he's so cool, he's working so much. It's work for me, but there's also some things I realized through the process too. But how I do it is, yeah, I stay ahead. So like I got my content built out for the next 2 weeks now. And when I hop on Zoom calls now, I'm more intentional and I record them and I get content from that. And so creatively, especially the type of videos I do, you can't back yourself up and all of a sudden it's Monday and you got to figure out some type of video to put out for Wednesday or Friday. What it does is it just stresses you out. And it almost makes creating content a whole other job that you have. When it does take time, if what you do is creating content, helping other people create content, of course yours has got to be on point, but it shouldn't be this thing that just stresses you out, that zaps energy from you because you're just behind and you feel like you're constantly having to come up with new ideas. So I literally, if you want to talk about process, I roll around my apps, my notes app, this guy here, right? I pull it up and I've got a ton of ideas. I've got 3 weeks booked out. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And I'm filling in concepts as I go. So I've got next 2.5 weeks of concepts. Then the next step is to go in and actually script them out. And I'll do a rough kind of outline of a script. And then the following day, or whenever I get a chance to, I'm filling in that script and I'm kind of final editing. And then, of course, I have my days where I shoot, which is now Tuesday nights. I'll shoot my content. So I'm shooting like tomorrow. I'm shooting two videos for the following week. So I'm already that far ahead. But I am a person that believes in, if you're putting out a lot of creative content, I think you need to write every day. I think you need to be creative every day. You need to get the juices flowing every day. It's almost like a commitment, a lifestyle. So for me, it's fun. I enjoy it. I sit down in my coffee in the morning and I'll just write out scripts or ideas or concepts. But if you write every day, it's less pressure because you don't feel like you got to come up with ideas out of nowhere.
I love that. So Ravi, I want to know, how do you stay so optimistic? You always have a smile on your face. You always like just take things in stride. You've had some challenges. You know, you've had some transitions. You're doing something more on your own right now. So you are becoming more invested in yourself. Like, what are some tips for staying optimistic and always having a smile on your face? Is it real? Is it, do you ever feel like you got to kind of like put on a face for everybody? Because you're just like one of the most like authentically happy individuals that I've ever met. And it really intrigues me.
Man, like just like anybody else, I have moments where I'm down. I've had moments where, as much anxiety as the next person, where you overthink things, you worry about things which are completely irrelevant, like just the classic, I suppose, roller coaster of life. Like, I'm definitely not immune to any of that. Like, the individual that you see is, yeah, I am genuinely like a happy dude. But at the same time, I suppose the right way to put it is, a lot of people don't believe it when I say this, but I'm actually, I would say, an ambivert. Is that the right word? When you're like a mixture between extrovert and introvert, right, where I actually charge up my batteries personally in solitude. But I used to be the dude that would be around 30, 40, 50 people, like acquaintances coming out my butthole, right? Like ridiculous. And at the same time, what I've learned over the years is to protect, Brian's laughing, protect my energy. It's super important, because everything that we're all doing and anybody is doing inside of the comments right now is building something, whether it's a family, whether it's a business, whether it's your team inside of a business. And that takes energy. And what I've realized just over the years is that you've really got to learn how to protect your time, protect your energy, and really surround yourself with good people. Now, one of the things that I've done, which has massively helped me in periods in lockdown where I felt down, I haven't felt great, I've been like pushing through and like the resistance, and it's not really felt aligned at points, is hanging out with people over Zoom. Like intentionally setting Zooms up very specifically, and not just to say, I'm going to record this and there's going to be a piece of content which comes out of this. But there was something that I learned from a book a while ago, Sell It Like Sirhan. For those that are interested, whack it in Amazon. It's a good book by a guy called Ryan Sirhan. And he speaks about going to the gym and making it a point to speak to, I think, 3 to 5 new people every single time that he went into the gym. Now, if you take that mindset virtually, that would be organizing 3 to 5 new Zooms every single week or every single 2 weeks, whatever it is for you, to start widening that network. And not every Zoom call is it going to be like, oh my God, you are the Robin to my Batman or whatever it might be. But you're going to start finding that you can connect with people in a way which is different to maybe the people that you've been kicking it with at the moment. As a result, it gives you perspective. I'm a relationship-driven individual. I know that. I get lit up from people, so it's important for me to do that. But I also have to respect that I actually enjoy my time in solitude, man.
I love that. I love that. So one thing I did want to touch on was an element of the hustle culture, especially like we're touching on the topic of Gary Vaynerchuk and all of that, is competitiveness. Which, I find myself being very competitive. That's something that drives me. It fuels me. It makes me work harder to have, content that stands out, because you're fighting for the top spot, right? You're fighting for the top spot on the feed, top spot in business. Of course, it's plentiful. There's plenty for all of us to share. But I do have like that athletic background, so a large part of me is wanting to keep things competitive and paying attention to what everybody else is doing. The way that I framed it is I want to align myself with my competitors. I want to align myself with the people that are doing the best, because there's so much that we can learn from each other. But I want all of you to just kind of like really quickly, scale of 1 to 10. How competitive do you feel that you are when it comes to your goals in business, on LinkedIn, in social media in general? Brian, 1 to 10, how competitive are you?
Probably off the charts, but only with myself though. I don't feel competitive next to other people. I try to think about, in the long term, what am I going to tell my future self? What would my past self say to me today?
I love that.
That's really important to me. But I think that your new header image is excellent. It's definitely going to increase your level of competition in the marketplace. Good job, John.
Wait, you know what Paige just said? She was like, she's definitely talking to JP. What sport can you play with hair like that? Lacrosse or something. I don't know.
Listen, Paige, I can be a cheerleader. I can play chess. There's plenty of sports I can do. All right, Alex, 1 to 10. And do not say you're like Brian, that it's just competing with yourself. Unless it's true, then I'll let you have it.
No, that is true, but I don't have to go into it. But I'm very, very competitive. But yeah, I mean, for me, it's like I think what I try to do is different than what anyone else is doing. So I don't look at anyone else and say, oh, they're doing something very similar, I need to outdo them. I look at myself and say, how can I stand out so much more than anyone else? And then it comes down to exactly what Brian said, which is like the only person that I can influence or that I can actually make better outside of clients and stuff is myself. So I constantly am trying to challenge myself. That doesn't mean that you don't see ideas from people and that you don't pay attention and read things, of course. But I really try to stay in my own space. That's why I'm like literally just fucking off on La La Land sometimes doing my own thing. Like I just don't even see things. I'm just like, I'm going to write this story. I'm going to get this piece of content out. Like I just really, I think it's healthier to do that too. If you're constantly, I mean, the competitive stuff's good and to watch people's good, but if you're constantly worrying about what everyone else and trying to keep up, it's like you kind of miss out on your own uniqueness and what you can bring to the table. And that's what I live off of. Unleash the creative. I think we've all got our unique abilities and potential within us. And it's my job to help people unleash that on the world.
I love that. Unleash.
Oh, man.
I can't wait to hear who was Ravi competing with.
Say that again. What did he say?
I want to know who you're competing with.
Ravi, 1 to 10.
What? Dr. Brian. Brian's so weird. Like, I don't know. Can we just flip this on a scale of 1 to 10? How weird is Brian? Like, can we put it in the comments, guys? On a scale of 1 to 10, I want to know how weird is Brian. Right, 11. Travis puts 11, please. Off the charts.
You know what? But he's onto something, because like I had that song stuck in my head for at least 3 days. Like when he got the new camera.
Oh like, my God!
I couldn't get it out of my head.
Dude, that was the greatest piece of content ever.
Check out my
check. It's so nerdy how he did it too. It's so great. Fantastic, dude. Fantastic.
Dude, no, but that's why he's magical. So Ravi, 1 to 10. Keep it short.
So I'm gonna hit you with an answer which you may not expect, right? But if I'm playing a sport like, I mean, let's say American football. I'm not built like that. I'm not that guy, right? So I'm not going to be competitive about something which I have no vested interest in.
Yeah.
Like it sucks. Like, for example, if I'm playing golf, like I'm not great at golf, right? But if I'm playing it, I'm like, I want to get better. I want to improve. But I'm not going to sit there and also be uber competitive in something that doesn't mean much to me. If it's within my zone of genius, which is basically everything, but if it is within my zone of genius, yeah, I'm just as competitive as the next guy. But if it's about something which I genuinely have not built an expertise in, and then I'm getting upset, well, I just need to bet myself. You know what I mean? Like if I want to actually care about that specific thing. Otherwise, it's just, I don't know. Question for you guys, is that border on ego or arrogance? If you are competitive about something, you've not even sharpened the saw or skill set in, what's that about?
I think that's healthy. I'm the same way. I think why would you think that you should be amazing or super competitive at something that you just don't even have any clue about?
Not working. Exactly.
That's just setting realistic expectations. Like if I go to bowl right now, I'm not like, oh, I need to be the greatest bowler out here. Like I'm not that great at bowling, so I'll have fun and I'll try to get better. But I'm not super ultra, oh my God, I got to beat everyone. But if it's something that I feel like I should win at, something that I put a lot of time and effort into, like if we're doing a video competition, then like I'm gonna put in everything I got. I'm gonna be super competitive. But
how funny is it? How funny is it that when we started making videos, when we started creating content, we were like, how hard can this be? How much time can it possibly take? And then like you start getting into it and you're like, dude, this is actually like hard. You know, it's like we're all to the point where we've like, you could say like we've made it, you know, whatever. But to be able to consistently develop, and Alex, I know you're there with me, like consistently develop great content at scale over a long period of time is like God status. Like the individuals that could do that, you know, like when I look at Shay, she films a video, like she'll literally just like walk into, like sit on the couch, film a video. It's awesome. And there you go. It's like when you can see those people that are like really like the prodigy level, like just like God level at what they do, it's really incredible. But, you know, to be able to do this kind of stuff at scale for a long period of time, that's actually the hard part. You know, like getting your first video, like having a viral hit, those things attainable, but to do it over a long period of time, very, very difficult. So now that I kind of touched on that, I also think it's interesting because all of you are somewhat solopreneurs, right? At this time right now, does anybody else, you know, Brian, you have assistants. I'm sure Alex, you have one or two. Ravi, are you working? Do you have a job right now or?
My business. Yeah. My own business.
Your business. Oh, that's right. Yeah. Okay. So, you know, so all of us like, you know, we're kind of like solopreneurs to a degree, right? So how does that change the dynamic? If you had a team, if you had multiple individuals, like would you be, you know, like trying to elevate each other? Would you be trying to bring each other up? It may like make it more of like a team effort where it wouldn't be so much we're just focusing on what we're doing, but we're also like trying to elevate the team around us. So how does that change the dynamic? Working as a solopreneur as opposed to being on a team, do you guys like miss that dynamic or do you kind of like everything being on you right now?
That's a good question, dude. That's a really, really good question because this year, when I was in a senior leadership team at a startup, I started out in January with like 14, 15 people inside of my team and grew that from scratch. Now, over a few years. Now, in my own venture, like I said before, yes, I enjoy the being in solitude and focusing on me, but I'm also a highly relationship-driven individual where I get lit up, but like, I can feel the energy right now from this call. Like, I feel that, and it lights me up. And I have a like obsession with, I enjoy mentorship. I genuinely enjoy taking people, taking them through a process, watching them grow, and then watching them teach others, and it becomes a ripple effect and a domino effect. So one of the things that I'm looking forward to is being able to scale and hire my team. It's something that I truly, truly enjoy doing. So yeah, man, I've now gone back to the startup days where I was a couple of years ago previously at the company I was working at. But I also enjoy the process, but I also recognize that I'm an individual who enjoys the building with others, you know, versus me on a laptop in a beach in Bali for, you know, just by myself. That's great for some, but I know for me, having a team that can create a bigger impact, because that's what lights me up, is more my thing.
Alex, I feel like how comfortable would you be delegating other things to people to kind of help you? I feel like you're one of those guys that you take so much pride in what you do. You know, it may be a challenge for you to delegate because you want to be able to kind of like control the creative process. So how comfortable are you delegating?
Well, there's certain, you know, like to go back really quickly to what Ravi was saying, like when I left my full-time job, what's it been, 2 months ago, maybe 3 months ago, 2 months ago, I actually surprisingly got way more lonely than I thought I was going to be. And even though we were all work from home anyway, so it's like a lot of conference calls, video, you know, this kind of stuff. But I do miss the team aspect. You know, there's certain elements of it. And Ravi, what you said, man, spoke to me, like developing other people. And yeah, you develop your clients and stuff, but it's different when you're working with somebody each and every day. And to see somebody go from here to here and to know that you played a role in that, like that's impact. That's really cool. So I do miss that. And it's something that I look forward to as I grow this business, is to hiring people and helping them get to where they want to go in life and in their career. I think that's really cool. In terms of delegation, I don't have a problem. I would love to be able to delegate more. And I'm at a point now where it's like, something's got to give. I just can't, like, something's
has
to be delegated, you know, it's like not even an option anymore, which is a good thing, but it's just as you grow your business. I don't have a problem delegating. You know, there's certain things that I want to keep closer to me, like certain parts of the creative process and that kind of stuff. But certainly there's so many things that I feel like you could delegate. I also believe in, because I believe, again, in unleashing the creative end, and that's part of the brand and what I believe in, I also want to empower other people to take it and run with it. And because I'm not super bent on, like, what if it fails? What if it doesn't work? I'm like, go. If it fails, we'll adjust and move on, you know, like, so I'm good with kind of letting some things go. But certainly I love the creative. It's like, that's, you know, that's at my core. It's
unleash the creative. It's in the name.
I've just always been that guy. I was writing raps when I was 14 years old, sitting in math class. You know, I was always trying to create and write, and it's just who I am. So I love it.
Should have auditioned for High School Musical, bro.
You know, the rap sounded like too.
What did it sound like?
Brian, not Brian. Stop.
Check out my tech.
Hey, Alex, you inspired me to do a rap in my video today. I want you to check it out.
You did?
Yes.
No way.
Dude, you totally inspired it. Like, I put it under the guise of, like, Schoolhouse Rock, but I was trying to be you, just to let you know. All right, Brian, I want to know, how comfortable are you delegating? Is it important to you to work on a team, or do you feel like you kind of, like you were alluding, it's like it's very you versus you? You know, walk me through that.
Well, so,
oh God.
Oh, hey, how you doing? The whole world's watching.
That's Christina. We work together full time, so we do. Oh God!
Didn't even know you.
We get
You're live, Christina. You're live. Don't swear at Brian.
I do feel really lucky that we get to work together. But like tomorrow night, Alex and I are posting a video tomorrow together. 5 out of my 6 top performing videos are with Ravi and I. So it's like, I don't even post single Brian only content anymore, because I don't like that. I don't enjoy it. I liked having conversations with people. So I just continue that and let that be the thing that I do. The solo stuff, I love your guys' videos, but for me, I'm just not in that zone where I'm enjoying that. So
yeah.
But you've made it your thing, and like, I love that, because like it makes you stand out. Like, I know exactly when I'm getting a Brian piece of content, like, it works for you. I think it's awesome.
Totally, it's totally the Brian Harman thing. I love it. It works so well for you, dude. Just you have a magical presence when you're with somebody else. I'm telling you, serious, swear to God, like, no joke. When I watch your videos, I'm like, this dude's more talented than he even thinks. From a content standpoint, from an interview, you have some type of, even when I watch the things that we've done together, which I was just posting tomorrow, and I'm like, he's just brilliant. It's brilliant. So that's your thing. And I think the key is, people oftentimes do things for a while and they get in a rhythm, and then all of a sudden something questions, well, should I do more of this content? Should I do more of this? And part of the thing is, like, sticking to who you are and what works for you, and don't veer away from that too much, you know?
Yeah. I also like that the people who come to see my content get to see you guys, my friends. It's cool.
I love that too.
Get that involved. And then I see, like, I've even had I'm gonna have videos coming up with me and some of Ravi's friends, me and some of John's friends, me and some of Alex's friends. Like,
Ravi's friends?
Yeah.
Besides us, we don't count.
How is it switched this week? I'm the dude that's taking heat. How has that happened? We need to take that back to doctor, the dentist, man. We need to take that back to the dentist.
So a big one that I want to cover is, because I'm actually finding this a lot on LinkedIn. People that have pretty significant followings are starting to reach out. And one of the biggest challenges they have is balancing the art and the business. With a lot of creators on LinkedIn, just generally speaking, but especially some of us that are really into the content that we create, you know, sometimes we romanticize the art side a little bit too much and don't focus enough on the business side. Now, it could be because we have, like, limiting beliefs about, you know, how much we can charge or what our capabilities are. Maybe it's because we're a little bit newer to it. But I am finding across the board, one of these things is, you know, Is there a correlation? Is it possible to put out the best content, be creative, speak to your truth, but also be able to run a business side and charge a lot of money, or charge a fair amount, even a fair amount of money for your services? Like, how do you balance, Alex, how do you balance the creative and the business side?
Yeah, it's a great question, man. It's something that, especially early on, I struggle with, because I wanted, you start creating content, especially if you like the creativeness of creating content. Some people don't like it, and that's totally fine. But if you enjoy it, which I do to a certain degree, you have all these ideas, all this crap. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna show them this lens. And you have to. I always tell my team, I'm like, my clients, I'm like, the message has to come first. The creative comes second. So meaning, like, what's the impact? What's the impact that you're trying to make on somebody? What are you trying to really accomplish with it? And then how do you put just an awesome creative touch on that? So everything that I do is, I always think with every piece of content, what would my target audience say about this? How would they feel about this? What are they going to get from this? Sometimes it's more on the entertainment side with the message. Sometimes it's very educational, action oriented, like today's video. And sometimes it's a blend, but you have, if you're running a business and your content's a big part of that, you have to think about, how do we not only sustain, but grow this business from the content? So if you're not producing leads, if you're not producing revenue from your videos, from your content, you have to rethink your strategy. You have to rethink, are we going too far off? I know, JP, you and something you and Jonathan, and we all went through it, I think, at the same time, where it's like, if you're too much on one side and you're too much of the creative or the funny guy, whatever it is, it sometimes can veer clients away from you because they don't see you as the credible, oh, okay, I would purchase from this person. So there's definitely a balance, but you have to go with the message. The message the impact has to come first. And then for me, the creative is second, even though it may not look that way.
I love that.
It's actually how it is.
I love that. I love that. It's so true. So Ravi, question for you. You have to take a list of calls or record videos. Which one do you do first? You only have enough time to complete one task.
Calls.
I'll keep it that way. Which one do you do?
All day long, calls. I'll tell you why. Because I could see the idea is that, say if I take 10 calls, say if I achieve, let's say I sign as a result of that 3 people into the program who I can help. Now, on the back of that, I can generate revenue. As a result of generating revenue, I can create videos from a space where I don't feel lack and stress, and from a place of, oh my God, this next post has to be the one that generates revenue. So for me, and also when we say content, you could flip up a camera and be like, guys, what's going on? I'm just about to, I could do one right now and be like, guys, we're on a live. What's going on? Da, da, da. And that could be the video content. So you can actually do both, but it depends on the pressure that you put yourself in terms of, what do you classify as video content? Does it have to be this 10-hour masterpiece, or for that day where you do have 10 calls to take and you want to get through them and actually keep yourself afloat? Can you do just a straight up selfie? Like last week, I didn't really feel like doing the whole banners, design, all that sort of stuff. I think all of my videos, I can't remember, 2 out of 3 or all of the videos were just standard fly on the wall ones, because that's how I felt that week. And those are quicker. So I think it all depends around the mindset that you have towards what you classify as a good, quote unquote, piece of video content. But also for me, ultimately, this is, I got taught this years ago, and stay with me for those that are going to give me some heat on this in the comments, but sales cures all. Meaning, you're not going to cure every single problem in your life. What I mean by that is, if you're having problems scaling, money will help you hire people to help you scale and build systems. If you're struggling to create video content by yourself, money will help you hire visual VAs and design editors and all this sort of stuff to help you buy your time back. And how you do that is by taking more calls and getting people who are great fits into your offer.
I love that. And that's a great point. That's a great point. Sales does cure all, but I'm not very comfortable with sales. So this is kind of like the other side before I get to Brian. Me personally, I recognize the fact that if I develop a very good piece of content, I'll get a lot more leads, and then I could get somebody that's much better on the phone to do the calls for me. So if I've got the choice, 10 times out of 10, I'm going to develop the piece of content that will generate a bunch of leads, and then see if, and I guess that's why it's great that we can all work as a team and we have people that kind of can fill in our gaps. But Brian, you're super interesting because I could see you being really effective at both. Now, I know you do a lot of collaborative content, but at the same time, you do put a lot of effort into developing the questions. So if you're like, gun to your head, you have to make a choice. Am I going to develop content? Am I going to make calls? Where do you go?
Are you talking about making sales calls?
Whether it's leads, whether it's like follow up, like maybe starting a business relationship. The difference is, I guess, like I'll clarify the question. Do I build the relationships one-on-one, or do I build the relationships at scale, develop a message that'll reach a lot more people? What's more effective for you?
The interesting thing about Alex and I compared to you and Ravi is that we batch our content. I have my content for the whole rest of the year. It's already made, sitting in a Google folder. So it's not like I ever have to make that choice. You're going to be seeing my old office that I haven't even been in for 3 months. I still have content that's being posted from like months ago because I built up that engine and it's always sort of cooking. So anything I filmed in the last 2 or 3 weeks, it's not going up for like 2 or 3 months because it's just there. Yeah, so I would just try to get in the place where that isn't even a question anymore. And I know how much time you put into your single videos, John. And so that's not going to be, you're never going to have this loaded shotgun of 50 videos that you're just sitting on like I am. And yeah, so it's just different. It's just a different approach, but that's what's working.
So what I love about that is this is a perfect transition to this next question that Travis so kindly provided for us prior to the call. So I'm going to go hard on you, Brian. Do you think that you would be more effective if you put more time into your content? It's an obvious question, but like in terms of, would it even be worth your time to invest in really putting the extra effort into the content as opposed to falling back on the method that you've created?
It's a good question. I think that the answer lies in the variation. So it's going to be kind of tiring if that's the only type of thing I do.
Right.
I need to mix it up. I need to do some higher quality production work like you and Alex are doing, and Ravi as well. That wasn't meant to be insulting Ravi, but we do some similar. You know what I mean? Like because Alex has green screens and it's really like a full on production, and John, he'll spend the 6 hours on scripting. So you and I don't do that.
No. Definitely not. I don't.
I think the answer does lie in the variation, John. I owe my content creation strategy a little bit more of that, not just interview. So I'll take that.
Well, it's also like we want to see more of you. I think sometimes with the interviews, like it's great to see the guests and stuff, but some of the feedback I've given my clients recently and you do interject a lot of yourself too. But sometimes when you have people and a lot of times you're just showing people coming on your show, interviewing, that kind of stuff, it highlights them all the time, which is a good selfless thing to do. But sometimes it's like, hey, I just want Brian for 60 seconds or a minute and a half or 2 minutes. I want him to teach me some badass things about leadership. How do you lead with love? What does that even mean? And
that's true. That is actually true. Like I think, but also actually, JP, something that you said is interesting, which is I think it depends on the phase you are as a business and as an individual, because the problem lies in, for example, Alex, how many months before you left your full-time gig were you producing content for? 6 months?
How many? Say it again. How many
months were you producing?
Oh, before I left.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably 6, 7 months, 8 months.
So he's already built up a level of brand equity with potential customers.
Yeah, that matters so much.
That matters so much, because if you leave your job tomorrow and then you say, okay, I'm going to start producing LinkedIn video content. Oops, just slipped. LinkedIn video content is you may not have many people to get on the phone with at the beginning and actually build a relationship with and see if it's a good fit. So
exactly,
it really does depend where you are as an individual. If your strategy is attraction marketing, where you're building video content to attract individuals to you as an individual and also your offer.
100%, dude. That's a great point. That's why I teach, like, you got to know how to send video DMs. You got to know how to outreach. You got to know how to look for the leads. Because the reality is, when you first start making videos or content, the leads don't come pouring into you the first few weeks. You know, it takes a little bit of time to build that brand and build equity. But in the beginning, you got to know how to go find it, you know? So super important.
And I think also one of the challenges that I'm starting to recognize now is that when you develop a specific type of content, you start to develop a specific type of audience. And there will become like this expectation where they expect a certain type of content, and it might be like that super high quality. So if I went back and I tried Brian's approach, I probably couldn't get away with it now. The level of expectation is far too high, which puts more pressure, and it kind of goes back to where we started this conversation, the burnout. So that's what I love about Brian's approach, is the fact that he's developed a model that if he wanted to step away for a month, nobody on LinkedIn would even know. For example, 2 weeks ago, I had a really hard week. I was falling behind. I was depressed. I was exhausted. I was tired. I didn't put up one video, and I could show everybody the analytics.
Last week?
2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago.
Really?
Yeah. My viewership, like the 90-day viewership, went down by 44%.
Yeah.
In a single day, which tells me, okay, that means I have to develop this level of content basically as long as I want to be successful, because that's what I've built myself up to.
Here's what I'd say on that, JP. Like, one, I do think that you could make you just can't do anything like you can't rock the boat too, like, just all of a sudden next week, all of a sudden you're done with all the nice, like, creative content and you're completely doing like selfies. People will be like, what the hell? Like, you lose people, right? You could gradually start to interject with, if you notice with me, I'm gradually starting to interject things over the last couple of months strategically, so that it's not all relied on this ultra creative every single time. Because how do you scale that, right? So I do think there's an element that you could and should do that. And the second side is people want, I think, being dynamic. I've talked about this before, is going to be even bigger in the future as this content journey thing takes off on LinkedIn. People, I think, would love to see, guys, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I would love to see you do a video like this. And I would love to see you more on the casual, like, who is JP? You know, because I see these videos all the time. I know who you are because I've talked with you a lot off camera, but the audience, I wonder if they wouldn't be really intrigued to know the behind the scenes, or you funnel it to a YouTube or something else where people can go and see the behind the scenes of JP and what it's really like and behind the camera and stuff like that. I think there's a whole other element that you could unlock with that.
Dude, I think that's huge there, what Alex has just mentioned, which is, for example, different sides to every single one of us, which we need to showcase. Pages that be proactive, test things out, escape. Don't be afraid to be you.
Really quick though, JP, because I know this because I feel the same way. How scary would it be for you to post a video like this?
Dude, I wouldn't do it.
I know.
That's it. That's it. You missed out. But I think Brian and Ravi were both part of the elite call where Shay challenged me. Shay said, John, you have to do this. And I was like, no, I'm not. It is not happening. Like, what I'm actually waiting for is the LinkedIn, the LinkedIn stories. I would love to take more advantage of that because you don't have the pressure of the likes.
Yeah, but that's easy though, right?
That's cheating.
It's cheating, dude. And by the way, I'll be on stories like every fucking 5 seconds.
Right.
Here's the mindset that you have to have. I'll share this because I totally understand where you're coming from. When I posted that video a couple weeks ago, and it actually did really well, but like,
it was like a Friday night too.
Friday night, yeah. I'm testing out things obviously, but it was kind of off the cuff. When I posted, I was like, I hope this bombs and just gets 0 likes so that it can be a story for me to tell about how you just can't be afraid to try new things. Let it fail. It's okay. It's not. So it's similar to my mom and my dad in the beginning. We're like, well, what if it doesn't work out? What if your side or your hustle, your dream doesn't work out? I'm like, Mom, if I became homeless tomorrow, do you know how badass of a story that's going to be when I rise back the fuck up from being homeless? I'm like, this is all part of the story. So when you shift your mindset and say, fucking let it do shitty. And it probably won't anyway, so it'll probably do amazing. But even if it did, it's a story to tell. you know, and it's one video.
You know what I think would be so good?
Like a challenge right now.
Well, what I'm waiting for is, you know, like let's say Keeping Up with the Kardashians, okay? Like a reality TV show. But imagine if, because one thing I've been thinking about, right, which is 59-second, max 2-minute clips, which are packaged up into Gary Vee style, this is what I did my day, where they see different sides of you. Like JP, you said, you know, I'm always bubbly and I'm always smiling and energy. But what about me in a business scenario? What about me when I'm like with my dog? Or Brian, what about you when, yeah, exactly the same with your dogs, with your kids? Like people maybe want to see the other side. Instead of intentionally creating that content, having somebody there to film that one day in the week where it showcases different sides of you, makes it organically happen. I'm intrigued. I don't know why anybody's not done it yet. I'm intrigued. I don't know why. Maybe
exactly why. It's you get something going for a while and it works and you're scared to change it, man. Like we all feel that way. I totally
And I think also like you do to some degree, you need a little bit of a built-in audience that is invested in you, because you know what happens to some of us is people are very invested in the value that we give, but not so much in the individual that's delivering the message, you know? So it's one of those situations, you know, is the mail in the messenger bag what people are about, or is it the messenger that's delivering it? So
But that's why even though I have vlogs and the selfie videos and stuff, there's still got to be value in it. That's the key, right? So it's not like, here's JP fucking, you know, combing his dog.
Eating cereal.
Eating cereal. It's got to be something of substance. It's you showing your life. Yeah. But there's got to be like a hint of a message or value or something that's like, oh, that was interesting. I didn't think about that way. So you still got to have the message always comes first.
I love that. So guys, let's wrap this up. So one last point for each of you. Let's see. What are we going to make it? When
is this video coming, Jonathan?
Before the end of the year. How about that? I'll promise that. Before the end of the year, it will be out. Okay, so I promise. So we'll end it with this. Like final, like one sentence. Quality or quantity? Brian, which do you pick?
Quality.
Quality. Why? One sentence.
I love your videos. Simple as that. I love them. I want mine to be more like yours.
Do you want to write a love letter to him at the end of this video?
Oh, no, I'm going to be the one writing the love letter. He's so sweet with me.
Real bromance.
Ravi, quality, quantity.
Okay, at the beginning, quantity, because you don't know what quality even looks like if you haven't done the reps, then the flip reverse.
I like that. Alex.
This is a tough one because I kind of believe in both. But I'll go quality, because I think quantity is very easily replaceable.
So you guys heard it first. Everybody agrees. Quality. Quality is king. So remember that as you're developing your content. Thanks for having me, guys. Yeah. Hit it, Travis.
All right. Thank you guys so much for joining Lead, Laugh, Love, episode 4. Please let us know what you think of the show. This is an active live experiment where are quite literally building this beast while we're flying. But we appreciate your support week after week. Connect with all of these brilliant masterminds here we've got on the show, as well as sub to the channel, follow all of our pages, and most of you are probably already doing that. So what would be really most helpful is invite a friend. If there's been any ounce of value in the content and the media that we're bringing you, invite somebody to join our community, join our family. We'd love to have you. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you next week.